Good evening and welcome to Students Dominate Math. My name is Mr. Hendricks and I'd like to serve as your math tutor for the evening. This is a live call-in interactive show brought to you through the facilities of CAN TV. You can call the number 312-738-1060 and I'll do the best that I can to answer whatever questions you have in the area of mathematics. Pretty much any math I could help you with the exception possibly of statistics. But you could call in with a statistics question and I'll do the best that I can to answer whatever questions that you have. What I'd like to do today is pick up where we left off. As I say every week, I prefer that you call in with your questions and comments regarding the show. Math questions regarding the show. But if you don't call in, I still have topics that I present and bring to the table. Today is no different, and what I'd like to do is introduce to you sort of the fourth leg in the series of shows that we've had where we worked with compounding interest and how over the course of time money can grow. And what I've done is really for the last couple weeks, what I've done is I've really solved different kinds of problems that require the exact same equation. For those of you who've watched the show, I've used the equation that I'll show you right here. I will show you the equation that I've been using right here. The equation I've been using is A is equal to P, that's principal, times the quantity 1 plus the interest rate over the frequency at which your money is compounding annually, times that same variable raised to the n times t power, where t represents the amount of time that you're prepared to leave the money in the bank. We have used this exact same equation for three different kinds of problems. What you can do is I'll have the URL for those three problems next week. I don't have them right now, but if you like to look at those shows, what I'm told you can do is you can go to YouTube and search YouTube, look for CAN TV Nonprofit Services. All right, I'll have the exact URL next week. All right, I don't have it right now. But what you can do is you want to see the previous shows, you go to YouTube, and you search CAN TV Nonprofit Services. Okay, and once you go to CAN TV Nonprofit Services, you go to that channel, and what you can do then is you can go to Providence St. Mel School. Let me spell it right. You go to Providence St. Mel. Okay? You go to you go to Providence St. Mel School after you go to CAN TV Nonprofit Services. Okay? After you get to the CAN TV Nonprofit Services YouTube channel, then you search Providence St. Mel School, and then you will find the other three shows. You'll find the other three shows that we've done. Okay, and like I said earlier, each of the three shows have dealt with the exact same equation. Okay, let me show you that equation one more time. It's this equation right here. Now the first problem that we performed was there was some amount of money that you had, some amount of disposable income. Okay, so this is your paycheck. Okay, you got your paycheck and you want to invest, you want to make an investment with your paycheck. This is principal. This is an amount of money that comes out of your pocket. This is what you're bringing to the table. We call it principal. All right, so that's an amount of money. It's maybe an inheritance. It's some kind of gift. We call it principal, but this is your money. First problem that we did, took the amount of money that you had at a certain interest rate. The money was compounded at a frequency of something that would have been given, and then you would have left your money in the bank some known amount of time. And what this formula did for you was, given that set amount of money that you're bringing to the table, this formula calculates A. A represents the balance. A represents the balance. So now what you have is you have a formula that if you deposit some money into some kind of financial program or some kind of some kind of account, and it's compounding at a certain interest rate, you can now know how much money you'll have after X number of years, T number of years. So that's good to know. That's good to know. That's the first problem that we did. That was about 3 weeks ago. Then the next problem that we did with the exact same equation, the next problem that we did was we said that, okay, let's say that there's a $3,000 item that you want to purchase. There's a $3,000 item that you want to purchase. All right, so you know the balance. You would know the balance. You would know how much money you desire. But let's say you don't know the principal. Let's say you don't know how much money. Let's say you want to know how much money. There's a $3,000 item that you want to buy, but you don't know how much money you should put in the bank to allow that money to grow in interest so that it would reach $3,000, so that you would then have the means to purchase whatever you want. Okay? So that's different from the problem I talked about previously. The problem I talked about previously, you already knew how much money you had in your pocket. This problem is different. What you know is the amount of money that you desire over the course of time. All right, so you desire, let's say, $3,000 over the course of time. That now what you would do is you would put the $3,000 here. That's your balance. The interest rate would be known in the problem that we did about 2 weeks ago. The frequency at which your money is growing, that's known. And then the amount of time that you're prepared to leave your money in the bank, that would be known. And then you would be solving for P. All right, you would be solving for P. All right, so same formula, but it is a different kind of problem. Third kind of problem that we did last week, the third kind of problem we did is we knew what we wanted to purchase, okay? We also knew, well, let's say again, it's a big-time $3,000 television set. I don't know if that even makes sense. If televisions can be that expensive now, I don't even know. But let's say it's the top of the line. Let's say it's a $3,000 television set, and let's say that you know how much money you have. All right, so you know the balance and you know the principal. Let's say you have $2,500, okay? And let's say you want to put the $2,500 in the bank and allow interest to grow on your money and have it to grow so that you now have enough money to purchase the television set, okay? And let's show you what we did with that. Now, again, you can look at all these videos in detail. I'm just reminding you the ground that we've covered up to this point. All right? All right, so let's say here you would know how much money, that's $3,000 for the set. You also know that you have $2,500. That's the amount of money that you're bringing to the table. We call that principal. All right? And then we also, let's say, know that, let's say the bank says that they have products that compound quarterly. Well, you would know N. you would know in. And let's say the bank offers you, let's say 5% compounded quarterly. All right, so you got R and you've got the frequency at which your money is compounding each year. What we did last week is we calculated the amount of time it would take for your money to grow from what you have to what you desire. So again, we use the same equation really in three different ways to solve three different problems. This week, we're going to perform the final problem where we use the exact same equation to solve for something a little bit different. This time we're going to solve for the interest rate. All right? So let's say similar situation. Let's say, again, we have a $2,000 refrigerator that we would like to purchase. All right, so $2,000 refrigerator. If you're watching the show, it would be great if you called in, and if I say to you that the refrigerator that you desire to purchase is $2,000, does the $2,000 represent A, the balance, or would we substitute the $2,000 into P, the principal? I prefer it where we have audience interaction. You call the number 312-738-1060, and you tell me where we should substitute the $2,000. But anyway, let's say you've got the $2,000, but let's say currently you only have $1,500. So again, I'm asking you the same question. Where would you put the $2,000? Where would you put the $1,500? Okay? If you know the answer to those questions, I want you to call in. But I'm going to continue to present the problem. So $2,000 refrigerator, you have $1,500. Let's say the bank is offering products where your money is compounding. Let's say quarterly. Your money is compounding quarterly. $2,000 refrigerator, you have $1,500. Your money is compounding quarterly. All right? The question that I have for you, oh, and by the way, another thing, let's say you're prepared to invest your money for 5 years. You're prepared to put this money in the bank for 5 years. All right, so let's write all that down before I forget it. All right, let's write it all down and let's see what we got. All right, so A is the $2,000. That's the refrigerator. All right, you have $1,500 that you're bringing to the table. You want to deposit this money in the bank and cause it to grow to $2,000. Then I said that your money is compounded quarterly, which means it compounds each year 4 times. And then I said the amount of time that you're prepared to leave your money in the bank is 5 years. You know, let's just say the refrigerator is good now. You're satisfied with it. It's not an emergency. You don't need the new refrigerator right away. Maybe you anticipate remodeling the kitchen 5 years from now, and you want to put a certain amount of money aside, allow it to grow so that you have enough money to make the purchase cash. Which brings up a whole nother subject. Let me take a break here from our problem. I mentioned something to my students today. In my opinion, we're reaching a time where the students, and not reaching a time, we've reached a time where I encourage my students to think from an entrepreneurial perspective. I ask my students to, hey, think of some business idea. Think of a way in which you can have an increased number of streams of income where you're not reliant on your 9 to 5. This is what I told my students today. We encourage the students to go to college. We encourage the students to perform well, have successful careers and so forth. But I also encourage the students to, have what they call a side gig. In my neighborhood, we call it a hustle. Have something that you can do where it can be earning money for you. It can earn money for you even in addition to your 9 to 5, even in addition to your career. We want you to have streams of income, money coming from this way, money coming from this way, money coming from this way. You have multiple streams of income. I believe we're getting to a place where this is going to be essential. You think as an entrepreneur, you think as, hey, what can I do as a service to the community that would be so valuable that people would want to pay me for me to perform this service. You have to think outside the box. You have to think about, hey, what can I do? What do I enjoy that would be of necessity to the community? And then you charge people for your services. I believe it's very important that we teach the students to think like this because of the economic climate that we now find ourselves in. And I think the earlier we do that, the better. Earlier we do that, the better. All right, so you want to comment on that, you call in, number 312-738-1060, and we can talk about that. But in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to finish this problem. I want to finish this problem. Let's take a look. All right, so how would we figure out the interest rate that we would need to go to the bank? We go to the banker now, and we are in the position to say, Mr. Banker, Ms. Banker, I desire a blank percent interest rate so that when I deposit this $1,500 into your bank, when I deposit this $1,500 into your bank, I want it to grow to be $2,000, and this is the interest rate that I'm going to need for that to happen. So now you're in a position where you know what interest rate you want. You know what you're going to the bank you're looking for. And if this bank A can't provide this interest rate that we end up calculating, maybe we would encourage you to go to another bank and sort of what we call negotiate and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, and this is what I want. All right? So let's just make this calculation, see what we got. All right, so we got the balance. Let's maybe see if we have enough room here. Is 2,000. All right, so we put the 2,000 here. Is equal to the principal, which is 1,500. All right, 1,500 times 1 plus the unknown rate over the frequency at which the money is compounding each year, which is 4, raised to the 4 times t power, that's 5. So what we end up with here is we end up with 2,000 is equal to 1,500, and then we have 1 plus r over 4 to the 20 power. All right? Our goal is to solve for r. Our goal is to solve for r. All right, so how do we do that? Let's attempt to isolate this exponential part of our equation by dividing by 1,500 on both sides. 1,500 on both sides. And what we end up with is we end up with 1 plus r over 4 to the 20th power is equal to 20 divided by, 2,000 divided by 1,500, and you end up with 1.3. Repeating, 1.3. All right, so now what you can do is you can get rid of this exponent. You can get rid of this exponent by raising both sides of your equation to the reciprocal of the 20. All right, to the reciprocal of the 20. All right, so raise both sides to the reciprocal of the 20, and what that will do is that will cancel out that exponent, which is hindering you at this point from being able to solve for r. This is one of the things that I love about this exercise that we're talking about, because in each of the problems that I've described, this is the fourth way we're using this equation. This is the first time that we've had to raise both sides to the reciprocal. So this exercise of using this equation for 4 different problems is actually requiring 4 different problem-solving techniques. 4 different problem-solving techniques. So it's testing you on different things. The fact that we're using the equation to solve for individual variables. We're being forced to use different problem-solving techniques. All right, so let's finish this up. So now what we have is we have to take 1.3, raise it to the reciprocal. Let's do that here. We got to take 1.3, raise it to the reciprocal. So we're going to raise this to the 1/20th power, and you end up with 1.014. All right, so we end up with 1.014 is equal to 1 plus r over 4. Raising it to the reciprocal got rid of that exponent 20. Now we're going to subtract that 1 over. We're just about done now. Subtract that 1 over. You end up with 0.014 is equal to r over 4. The 1's canceled out. You can cross multiply here. You're going to get r. You cross multiply here. You're going to get r is equal to, you're going to multiply by 4, and you end up with 0.0579. And that r is the same thing as 5.79%. So now, 5.79%. So now you know what your financial goals are. You know that you had $1,500. You also know that you wanted $2,000. You know that the bank has said our products, this particular product compounds quarterly, and you also know that you're prepared to wait 5 years for your money to grow. All you needed to know is what to tell the banker what kind of percentage rate you'd be interested in obtaining. So now you say to the banker, I'd like an interest rate of 5.79, and that would ensure that you would have the money to make this particular purchase. All right, so that's we got to wrap things up. Our show is just about over. We thank everyone for watching. The show is we air the show every Thursday from 5:30 to 6. As we do every week, we want to encourage all the teachers out there to, hey, have more faith in the student, possibly than the student has in him or herself. We want to encourage you, put forth your best effort every day. See in the child what the child can't even see. And with the students out there, you never quit, never give up, ask questions, and always come for help. All that said, we thank you for watching. God bless you. And remember, all students can dominate. Have a good evening.